Want to speak real Portuguese from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at PortuguesePod101.com.
Hi, welcome to Introduction to Portuguese. My name is Alicia, and I'm joined by...
Hi everyone, I'm Anna.
In this lesson, you'll learn the basics of Portuguese grammar. Word order refers to the order in which words are structured to form a sentence in a given language. Consider the English sentence, I ate an apple. But first, let's remove the article an here for simplicity. So we're just left with I ate apple. The basic word order for English is subject, verb, object, or SVO for short.
The good thing is Portuguese uses the same SVO word order. Let's take a closer look.
If we break down the English sentence, I ate apple, we can see that the subject I is presented first, followed by the verb ate, and then finally the object apple is positioned last.
Let's compare that same sentence, I ate an apple, in Portuguese. Eu comi uma maçã. Like before, let's remove the particles to keep it simple. So we're just left with the words Eu comi maçã. I ate apple. Subject, verb, object. Breaking down the Portuguese sentence, we can see the word order is subject, verb, and object.
Which means that you don't have to change this basic structure when speaking Portuguese. In some cases, the order can be changed and the subject, in Brazilian Portuguese, is likely to be repeated forward in the sentence. But don't worry about it for now. Let's keep going. One of the great things about Portuguese is that once you learn how to form statement sentences, it's really easy to form other types of sentences. Let's see this one.
Você pegou o ônibus. Subject, verb, object.
As you see, the order of this statement is SVO. Now, what if you want to say this as a negative sentence, Anna?
You just have to place the negative word não, which means no or don't, before the verb. So we have the negative sentence. Você não pegou o ônibus. Basically, there are no different rules for these negative sentences. Just place the negative word não before the verb and keep the word order.
There are also other negative words in Portuguese, such as these.
Nunca, nem, nada, sem, nenhum, nenhuma.
Negative words in Portuguese may follow different rules and be placed differently.
For now, just stick with não before verbs, and you'll do just fine. Let's see another example. With the statement, how can we make it a negative sentence with the word não? You try. Eu não tenho tempo.
Well done! Notice that this negative word is not a verb, so it won't change according to verb tense. The verb changes, but the negative word doesn't, which is quite different from English.
Eu não tenho tempo. Eu não tive tempo. Eu não terei tempo.
As we mentioned before, building sentences in Portuguese is relatively simple. Let's see how we can form a question from a sentence.
If you want to make an indirect question, you can think of it like it's basically a statement, like the previous phrase. Você pegou o ônibus. With a question mark at the end and a raised intonation. Você pegou o ônibus? And that's it.
How simple! Unlike English, in Portuguese you don't need to use a verb at the beginning of a question. And what about direct questions?
For some cases, you only need to use a question word, like o que, onde, quando, at the beginning of the sentence. The rest is like the other examples we've seen in this lesson.
So, using one of these question words, we could make the following direct question by simply placing it at the beginning.
Onde você pegou o ônibus? Let's place it at the beginning. Quando você pegou o ônibus?
This is not an absolute rule, but it's enough to give you a better idea about question words and direct questions in Portuguese.
Okay then, let's move on to the next section.
As we learned in this lesson, Portuguese uses the same SVO order as English, and there are no great changes in negatives and questions. So we're going to talk about some Portuguese grammar aspects that differ from those of English. That means Portuguese grammar may permit or even mandate the omission of an explicit subject. Let's see 2 examples.
Não choveu. Negative, verb, word.
There is no subject in this phrase, as it's the rule in Portuguese in such cases. Here's another example.
Eu estou feliz. Subject, verb, adjective.
In this case, the subject is implicit. This is extremely common in Brazilian Portuguese and wouldn't be wrong to make explicit.
Eu estou feliz.
We'll elaborate later, but in Portuguese, the subject is encoded in the verb conjugation. That's why in this case, we know the subject is the first person singular, even though it's hidden.
There is one more aspect about Portuguese grammar that may be tricky.
In Brazilian Portuguese, adjectives are almost always placed after their nouns, while in English, it's the other way around.
Você pegou o ônibus amarelo. Noun, adjective. You took the yellow bus. Adjective, noun. Adjectives before nouns are not wrong though. They're just used more commonly in writing and for poetic effect. It would be unusual, however, when used in daily conversation.
Okay, let's wrap up this lesson by recapping what we've learned. In this lesson, you learned that Portuguese sentences are formed using a subject, verb, object, or SVO word order. At the same time, this is not rigid, as Portuguese also uses other orders. Basic sentences, like statements and negatives, are very similar in their structure. To make indirect questions, you should just add a question mark at the end of a statement sentence and raise your intonation. Portuguese is a null subject language, so a lot of sentences may have the subject in a hidden condition or not present at all. Adjectives are placed after the noun and not before, like in English. We've covered only the very basics of Portuguese grammar. If you're interested in learning more, check out our Portuguese in 3 Minutes video series. In that course, we teach you useful phrases while covering the fundamentals of Portuguese grammar, and each lesson is only 3 minutes long. See you in the next lesson. Bye!
Bye!
Hey everyone! Welcome to your monthly review, the monthly show on language learning, where you discover new learning strategies, motivational tips, new study tools, resources, and where we show off learners like you speaking the language. That is, if you're brave enough to participate and become language learning famous. All the materials mentioned in this video are available for you right now on our website. Click the link in the description to sign up for your free lifetime account and start speaking in minutes. Okay, today's topic is how to set achievable language goals and resolutions, your New Year's resolution solution. So, for those of you that have set a language goal for 2019, what is it? Leave a comment and tell me. And for those of you that laugh at New Year's resolutions because they just don't work, this is for you. Stick around. Today, you're going to learn, number 1, the top 3 reasons why language goals fail, and number 2, what you can do to succeed with your resolution. In other words, how to set successful language goals. Let's jump into today's topic, how to set achievable language goals and resolutions. And speaking of New Year's resolutions, it's almost like a joke nowadays, isn't it? You set a resolution, you try to do it in January. By February, there's no progress, and doing it isn't fun anymore. You quit and put it off until many years later when you start regretting all the things you've never done. So what's the problem with setting resolutions, and why do we keep failing? Let's jump into part 1, the top 3 reasons why language goals fail. First of all, regardless of what most people say, setting resolutions or goals is a good thing. You have to know where you're going and what you want to achieve, right? Otherwise, you'd spend days, months, years watching YouTube and have nothing to show for all the time you put in. But the problem with most resolutions is it's usually something like, I want to master Chinese. I want to lose weight. I want to be fluent in Japanese. People set very big, vague goals. And that's the first reason why resolutions fail. Resolutions fail because they are non-specific and unmeasurable. What do I mean by that? Take a goal like, I want to be fluent in English, Korean, or Japanese this year. The problem is that's a very vague goal, right? What do you mean by fluent? And how can you measure how much progress you need to be fluent in the language? You can't. It doesn't tell you anything about how much Japanese you should learn today, tomorrow, or how many minutes of Japanese to speak by month 1, by month 2, what resources to use, and when to stop and take a rest. So again, the first reason is resolutions fail because they are non-specific and unmeasurable. The second reason is New Year's resolutions fail because they're unrealistic. And you might say, but isn't it good to aim for the stars and set huge goals? Sure, it's not bad to want to go far, but if you say, I want to be fluent by September, and you just started learning a language today, it's not impossible, but are you ready to commit yourself to nothing but language learning, 6 to 8 hours a day, nonstop? If not, you need to be a little more realistic about your goals. The third reason is resolutions fail because there's no action plan. The problem is you'll still fail even with a specific and realistic goal if you don't know when and how you're going to do it. For example, when will you study? How long will you study for every day? And how will you study? So resolutions fail for 3 reasons. 1, they're non-specific and unmeasurable. 2, they're unrealistic. And 3, there's no action plan. Now, how do you set New Year's resolutions and actually succeed? Your goals should be 1, specific and measurable, 2, realistic, and 3, have an action plan. So the complete opposite of the mistakes most learners usually make. And there are 2 more rules. 4, you need to set a deadline. And 5, break down your yearly goal into smaller monthly goals. So, how would this work? Let's say my New Year's resolution is to have a 30-minute conversation in Japanese by December 31st, and not, I want to learn Japanese one day, hopefully. Already, you can see that it's 1, specific and measurable. You can measure 30 minutes, right? 2, it's realistic. I'm aiming for 30 minutes, not fluency. There's a clear deadline, December 31st. Before we get into the action plan, there's another important part. I break my resolution down into smaller monthly goals. So let's say my goal is to speak 2 minutes of Japanese conversation by January 31st, 2019. Again, it's small and measurable, just 2 minutes. I can time myself and see how far along I am. There's a clear deadline. It's realistic. I'm not looking to master the whole language, just reach the 2-minute conversation mark. Now, what about your action plan? For that, you just need to answer these questions. When will you study? How long will you study every day? Where do you plan to study? How will you study? What's your study schedule? This is the most important part because this tells you when and how to study. So, when will you study? I'll study at 9 p.m. on weekdays, so 5 days a week. How long will you study every day? I'll study for 15 minutes. Where do you plan to study? I'll study at home, in the living room, on my computer. How will you study? I'll listen to 1 or 2 lessons a day to fill up the 15 minutes. What's your study schedule? Monday through Friday for 15 minutes a day. This makes a lot more sense now, doesn't it? Instead of saying, hopefully I'll learn that language someday, and never taking action on your goals, by setting these small, measurable goals, you know what you need to do. Okay, let's recap. To set successful language goals, your goals should be 1, specific and measurable, 2, realistic, 3, have an action plan, 4, a deadline, and 5, be broken down into small monthly goals. So instead of saying, I want to be fluent in 2019, try, I want to speak 30 minutes of conversation by December 31st, 2019. And then go even smaller and set a small monthly goal. So everyone, it's your turn. Leave a comment and tell me, what's your small, measurable, monthly goal? And what's the deadline? Here are some examples you can steal for yourself. Learn 100 words in 1 month. Speak 1 minute of your target language in a month. Or do 20 audio lessons in 1 month. Deadline, January 31st. Now, speaking of lessons, Here are this month's new lessons and resources. First, the Ultimate Listening Video Master Course. Honest question, how sharp are your listening skills? With this video master course, they'll be as sharp as a razor. Download it right now. Next, the Talk About Your Body PDF cheat sheet. With this cheat sheet, you'll learn words for parts of your body in the target language. Then, there's the most common texting slang word list. If you want to text in the language you're learning, you'll love this. You'll learn how to say LOL and other words in your target language. And finally, the How to Express Quantity vocab list, where you learn how to say if there's a lot, a few, or a little bit of something. To get these free lessons and resources, just click the link in the description below. So, thank you for watching this episode of Monthly Review. Next time, we'll talk about the 7 tested timeless ways to learn a language. In the meantime, like and share this video, and leave a comment to tell us what language learning tactics you'd like us to talk about. See you next time. Bye!
Welcome to PortuguesePod101.com's Português em 3 minutos, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn Brazilian Portuguese. In the last lesson, we learned how to thank people by saying muito obrigado and how to reply with de nada. Today, we'll learn some common ways to say hello and goodbye in Brazil. Vocês estão prontos? Are you ready? Then, let's start! The most common informal greeting is Oi. Oi. Oi means hello. We say it when we meet someone. You may also say Olá. That also means hello. Olá. Another common greeting that you hear a lot in Brazil and at PortuguesePod101.com is Tudo bem. Tudo bem? Tudo bem means is everything fine? We use it usually together with Oi or Olá to greet someone. Altogether, you can say Oi, tudo bem? Oi, tudo bem? Tudo bem is a question, but it can also be the answer. Just say tudo bem, which means everything is fine. At the end, you can add e você? And you? Tudo bem, e você? Tudo bem, e você? When it's time to leave, we have a couple of different ways to say goodbye. You may say tchau. Tchau means bye. Tchau. You can also say see you soon. Até mais. Até mais. You also have adeus, which means goodbye, but you usually use it when the person is leaving to somewhere far or you're not going to meet for some time. Adeus. You learned a lot of new phrases today. Let's review with a quiz. What do you say in these situations? Oi. Olá. Oi, tudo bem? Tudo bem, e você? Tchau, até mais. Adeus. You now know lots of ways to greet people in Portuguese. Now it's time for Paloma's point. You often hear people saying tudo bom instead of tudo bem in Brazil. Bem means well and bom means good, but you usually use both in the same situations. Although tudo bem is more grammatically correct. During the next lesson, we'll talk about the phrase Desculpa, você fala inglês? Do you know what it means? Learn about it and much more in the next Português em 3 minutos lesson. Tchau, tchau!
Oi, gente, tudo bom? Paloma here. Welcome to Top 15 Questions You Should Know. De onde você é? Where are you from? So when you arrive in Brazil, the first person you see is gonna ask you, de onde você é? Where are you from? So you can answer it by saying eu sou de, or eu sou dos, or sou da. If you're from Mexico, you can say eu sou do México. You just need to be careful with the de preposition in Portuguese because we also use an article together with it. So it can be de, or dos, or da, or das, okay? O que foi que você falou? What did you say? So if someone is talking to you, you're not really listening to him, you can just say, o que foi que você falou? What did you say? Eu não falei nada. I didn't say anything. Eu falei que eu te amo. I told you I love you. Pay attention to what people are saying. Onde fica o banheiro? Where's the bathroom? Every restaurant has to have a bathroom in Brazil, so you can just ask him, onde fica o banheiro? But you can also use the sentence if you're visiting someone and you need to use the restroom, it's okay. Onde fica o banheiro? Fica ali no fundo do corredor. It's at the end of the corridor. Onde você mora? Where do you live? You're gonna use this sentence a lot and people are gonna ask you too. They can say de onde você é, where are you from, but they can also say onde você mora, meaning where do you live? Eu moro em São Paulo. I live in São Paulo. Eu moro no México. I live in Mexico. Onde você trabalha? Where do you work? Brazilians are very curious and they might ask you a lot of questions. One of them might be, onde você trabalha? Where do you work? Eu trabalho na Paulista. I work at Paulista Avenue, which is a very famous avenue in São Paulo. Eu trabalho na Petrobras. I work at Petrobras, a very famous Brazilian company. Qual é o seu nome? What's your name? This is the first question they're gonna ask you. Meu nome é, my name is, or you can just say your name. Paloma. Qual é o seu número de telefone? What's your phone number? They might say, qual é o seu número de telefone? Or, qual é o seu telefone? What is your phone? But meaning phone number. O meu telefone é 94777-7767. Brazilian cell phones always start with a 9 at the beginning. Quantos anos você tem? How old are you? When people ask you how old you are, you can say, eu tenho 20 anos. I am 20 years old. O que é isso? What's this? In Portuguese, we use a lot of que in sentences. For example, here, it's very common to repeat the que. O que é isso? What's this? É um telefone. It's a phone. É uma câmera. It's a camera. Tudo bem? How are you? You can answer tudo bem question with the same. Tudo bem. I'm fine. Or não muito bem. Not very well. Faz quanto tempo que você está estudando português? How long have you been studying Portuguese? If you're speaking a lot of Portuguese, for sure people are gonna ask you, faz quanto tempo que você estuda português? How long have you been studying Portuguese? Faz só um mês. Only a month. Or já fazem 5 anos. It's already 5 years. Wow, seu português é perfeito. Wow, your Portuguese is perfect. Onde você aprendeu português? Where did you learn Portuguese? Eu aprendi na escola. I learned at school. Eu aprendi com os meus pais. I learned with my parents. Eu aprendi assistindo filmes. I learned watching movies. Quando é o seu aniversário? When is your birthday? We really like to celebrate birthdays in Brazil. Some people may ask you, quando é o seu aniversário? When is your birthday? É dia 15 de outubro. It's on October 15th. Você gosta de comida brasileira? Do you like Brazilian food? Brazilians are very meaty people. They really like meat, so most of the dishes have a lot of meat on it. If you like meat, you can say sim, e principalmente a feijoada. Yes, especially feijoada. Or não muito, eu prefiro comida japonesa. Not that much, I prefer Japanese food. Você já foi para o Brasil? Have you ever been to Brazil? If you can speak Portuguese, my people may ask you, você já foi para o Brasil? Have you been to Brazil? You can say, já umas 5 vezes. Yes, maybe 5 times. Or, não, eu nunca fui. No, I've never been. The end. Okay, thanks a lot for watching and I hope to see you in our next video. Tchau, tchau. I don't know what to say then.
Bom dia, gente, tudo bom? Paloma here. Welcome to another Top Portuguese Words. Today's topic is must-know expression for agreeing and disagreeing. Exatamente. Exactly. Exatamente. Exactly. Exatamente comes from the word exato, which means exact. You can also say exato, that's right, or that's exact. Bom, eu não tenho certeza. Well, I'm not sure. Bom, eu não tenho certeza. Well, I'm not sure. Certeza means certain or sure, of course. So you can also say certeza, of course, or sure. It's the opposite for, well, I'm not sure. Bom, eu não tenho certeza. Claro, of course. Claro, of course. Claro can also mean bright, like a bright color, cor clara, but it also means sure or of course. Can you help me?
Claro, claro que eu posso te ajudar. Of course I can help you. Acho que sim. I guess so. Acho que sim. I guess so. Literally, the sentence is translated as I think yes in English, but it means I think so. For example, are you free tomorrow? Você está livre amanhã? I think so. Eu acho que sim. Eu ia falar isso agora. I was just going to say that. Eu ia falar isso agora. I was just going to say that. I guess the sentence seems like someone stole your idea right before you're going to say it. Ah, eu ia falar isso agora, but you said it before me. Tá, você está certo. Yeah, you're right. Tá, você tá certo. Yeah, you're right. Remember that this sentence is informal because you're using você. So if you're using this sentence in a formal or business context, it's better if you say sim, o senhor está certo. Sim, a senhora está certa. Ok? Você está errado. You're wrong. Você está errado. You're wrong. I don't think that's a very nice sentence to say to someone because it's very harsh. So you could say, eu acho que você está errado. I think that you're wrong. That is less direct than você está errado. You're wrong. Acho que não. I don't think so. Acho que não. I don't think so. This is the opposite from acho que sim that we said previously. So it also is translated as I think that no. Eu acho que não. Talvez. Maybe. Talvez. Maybe. This sentence neither agreeing nor disagreeing is just on the fence, em cima do muro, as we say in Portuguese. Talvez. Maybe. Eu não concordo, não. I don't agree. No. Eu não concordo, não. I don't agree. No. So finally here we're using the verb concordar to agree. To say the opposite, you can use discordar to disagree or não concordar, not to agree or doesn't agree. The question for this answer would be, você concorda? Do you agree? Or just concorda? Agree? And the answer is eu concordo or eu não concordo. Also, the word concorda has the same pronunciation as with rope. So sometimes people make fun and say concorda ou sem corda, with rope or without rope, but meaning, do you agree? The end. That's it for today. Thanks a lot for watching and I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree with this video. See you next time. Bye bye.
Want to finally start speaking in your target language? In this guide, you'll discover the top 7 ways to practice speaking on your own with our lessons. Let's begin. Number 1, shadowing. Shadowing is a proven learning technique where all you do is repeat what you hear in order to practice speaking. So access any audio or video lesson on the site and press the play button to start. Then, as you listen or watch, just repeat the conversations. Or, even easier, read along out loud with the dialogue section. The script is right there in front of you. With our lessons, you can master entire conversations, just like that. Number 2, read out loud. I just mentioned it, but reading out loud is another powerful tactic and deserves its own mention. With every lesson, you get written transcripts and translations. So, as you play the lesson, read the dialogue out loud as you hear it. Why? By reading out loud, you're also practicing your speaking skills. You can do this with the lesson notes, the lesson transcript, or the dialogue tool. With the dialogue tool, you can listen to each line again and again, and repeat out loud until you master them all. Number 3, speed up your reading to speed up your speaking. Being able to speak without thinking is a sign of language mastery. If you're talking to a native and can respond quickly, they'll assume that you're fairly fluent. How can you do this? When you read out loud, try increasing your speed a little bit every time. So, start by reading with the dialogue tool. If you're like most learners, you'll read the first line slowly. That's because you're still getting used to the words, which is okay. Reread it. On your second try, you know most of the words, and you'll read a little faster. Reread it again. On your third try, you'll be even faster, at a native speaker's speed. And being able to read these phrases out loud and fast will help you speak fast. Number 4, record and compare yourself with native speakers. In order to sound like a native speaker, you must imitate native speakers. So here's how. Access the voice recorder, which is in the Dialogue Study tool in every lesson. Click on the microphone icon. Listen to the native speaker's audio, and then record yourself. You can then compare the two recordings side by side, and practice and try again and again until you perfect your pronunciation. Number 5, get feedback from our Premium Plus teacher. If you're learning by yourself and don't have access to real teachers, then you can always get feedback from our Premium Plus teachers. With the My Teacher tool, you can record yourself speaking and send the audio file to the teacher. They'll review it and tell you what to improve and how. That's it. Number 6, level up your speaking with Premium Plus assignments. With Premium Plus, you can also get assignments that cover reading, writing, listening, and even speaking from your teacher. These assignments can be tailored to your goals and needs. You get a new one every week, or anytime you're ready for a new one. Number 7, get even more lessons in the lesson library. If you want even more lessons on speaking and conversations, visit our lesson library and under Category, choose Conversation. You'll get all of the pathways and lessons that are focused on speaking. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share it with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way, and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. I'll see you next time. Bye! To master a new language and understand everything as soon as you hear it, to read with just a quick glance and speak smoothly without thinking, you need to review. Here are our top 5 review tactics. Number 1, listen to examples over and over again. By listening closely and often, you start to pick up the rhythm of a language, as well as correct pronunciation from a native speaker. Use our line-by-line feature that lets you both listen and read along. Use this tool to practice as much as possible. Number 2, use our voice recording tool to master perfect pronunciation. Record yourself and compare it against the native speaker. If you sound different, then repeat after the native speaker until you're able to match them. Use our voice recording feature, which makes recording super easy. Number 3, master your recorded conversations. Record conversations and go over them again and again. Master entire conversations and repeat them line by line. Use any of the dialogues available for download on our website. These come with transcripts of the entire conversation. Number 4, use mobile devices to reinforce previously learned conversations. Constant review is the best way to progress in your language studies. Download the recorded dialogue to your mobile device and incorporate it into your music playlist. Quick reviews throughout the day effectively reinforce what you've learned. Number 5, read with line-by-line notes. Read along with a native speaker to really master pronunciation and natural intonation. You should start slow at first, then slowly increase your speed. Your pronunciation will become more natural. You will also see that your ability to understand fluent speakers will greatly increase. You'll be able to improve your communication skills using these 5 simple review techniques. Increase your understanding of your target language. And remember, if you're interested in getting all these review tools, sign up for your free lifetime account. No credit card required, and you'll get the best free online resources. And start reviewing more every day.